Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can change your belief before there is any proof and without being delusional. If you are experiencing a pattern that just keeps repeating in your life, and no matter what kind of effort you put out, nothing changes in your life, well, you're in the right place and this video is for you. I'm going to be showing you the 3 things that you can start doing now to change your beliefs before there is any changes in your outside world. It's critical for you to change your beliefs because you get a reflection in your life, not what you want, not what you desire consciously, but who you are being. And what is fueling that are your thoughts and your feelings. The roots of those thoughts and feelings are your beliefs. So as you change your beliefs, you're automatically going to change who you are being, what you see, and how you feel free and safe to navigate your life. When you do this, you'll be able to start being that new version of you. And as a result of that, your outside circumstances will change. Before I understood this, I kept waiting for the outside world to change to give me proof so that I could change that belief. But what kept happening is I kept replaying those old beliefs, and I kept being the same person, and I kept experiencing the same circumstances. So if you watch until the end of this video, you're going to understand how you can start to change your beliefs before there's been any change in your outside world and without being delusional. I'm going to be showing you visuals of how this energy works and how you can apply it to your life, and sharing personal examples of what it's done and how I've used it in my life. So let's get started. This first one is powerful. It's a huge perspective shift that I believe is powerful enough to help you start to change your beliefs without any proof. And so I want to give an actual example because I want to give you the easiest way that you can understand this to start applying it to your life. So I'm going to use the example of you, the employee, and some kind of boss, some kind of authority in your life. So maybe this boss, you have a job and they're just really critical. No matter what you do, no matter how you perform, they're just very critical of everything you do. And they have a lot of judgment. And because of these constant interactions, you believe that you're not good enough and that you don't have the ability to actually perform, that you're not as good as your coworkers because this boss seems to be very critical only at you. So no matter what happens, you kind of continue to have this archetype. Maybe you got tired of one job and you're like, screw that, and you went to another job only to find a same kind of person in your life. This could be male or female, and no matter what, you don't feel good enough and you don't feel like you have the skills that are necessary. It makes you feel that you're not worthy, makes you feel like you lack something. So this repeated pattern, and this might be a landlord, this might be somebody who's not your boss but who has some sort of authority in your life. So no matter what you do, this pattern and energy dynamic just keeps recreating. And you could think, God, this is me. I have a belief that I'm not good enough, because if I was good enough and I was able, I would stop finding these critical and judgmental people in my life. And surely the reason I do is because of me. So you could have a belief that you're not good enough and that you're not able. If you can understand that the reason this energy is repeating is not because of you, but this energy is actually replaying something that happened to you. So let me explain further. We are going to wind way back because it's vital for you to understand the formation of this belief. Because if nothing else, if you can take away and replace the word repeating with replaying, that these patterns are not repeating because of you, they're replaying a dynamic, a model of experience that literally formed the neurons, the synaptic connections in your brain, which is a huge part of perception, which we'll get into later. If you can start to understand that they are simply replaying something that happened and your attachment to that, this can change your life. So we all grow up with caretakers, somebody who physically can keep us alive. Didn't mention emotional capacity, emotional maturity, or actually having the skills to meet our emotional needs. But they have the authority because they can actually keep us alive. So we outsource our authority. So it becomes about who do we need to be accepted by this person? Who do we need to be and how do we need to adapt? Sometimes that's literally saying no to you so you can be accepted by this person. So you relate yourself through them, and if they see you and if they're really critical and maybe you do something and you're really excited, but they expected you to do something else. And again, maybe they're emotionally immature and don't understand the capacity of a child. So they've got stress in their life and they take it out on you. But that interaction and that model of dynamic of relationship and how you're to be treated when you do something makes you feel, because this person has authority. So you're like, oh, it's not them. They know better. And again, you have to think that, because if not, you're like, well, I'm doomed. This person can't keep me alive. I can't keep me alive. All wheels are off. We're headed off that Thelma and Louise cliff. So again, you do something, have this interaction, this event, I'm not good enough, and I'm not worthy. If I was worthy, they would think I'm good enough. They would receive this really good, and I'm just not able. And maybe this parent is actually really loving. Maybe they are more emotionally available, but they keep comparing you to kids in your school or or your siblings or your cousins. Why can't you be like them? You should work harder. Look how they do it. And maybe this is out of a place of love. Maybe they just are fearful and neurotic and paranoid, thinking that if you don't meet some standard, you're not going to be okay and your life's going to not be as good. So they want you to keep up with the standard because of whatever's going on with them. But you don't have that perspective. You can't relate anything different than, I must be lacking something. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not able. Okay? So this imprint of who you are has created a belief about yourself. And watch this. We have had some technical difficulty when I tried to pull this off the wall and it cracked. So we're going to do it this way. So even though this is your current life dynamic, okay, and you're like, oh, it keeps repeating because that's who I am and that's the belief you hold, but you're not taking into consideration that it's simply replaying the model of this. So you can see, even though this is your boss and this is you, this boss is representing and replaying this early on dynamic of that critical parent. And you're thinking and relating to, that's who I am because that's who you thought you were as a kid. If you can simply start to relate to the pattern as being something that is replayed and get into, which we will in the third part, get into how to relate to this can change your life. Because for my life, I kept getting the same pattern with romantic relationships, thinking, oh, I kept finding emotionally unavailable people who would be on and off, hot and cold, and I thought, man, it must be me. If I was worthy, if I was lovable, they would treat me differently. But what I wasn't realizing is I could only find people who represented and replayed this early on dynamic until I saw myself as differently and I started to let these go, realizing that they were not me. They were replaying who I thought I was in that old dynamic. Now, whatever model you were taught, and this could be how you are in the world, this could be how you get your emotional needs met, whatever was stored from how you saw yourself to be, this is that self-image. And this is why you cannot currently see anything other than those limiting beliefs. So this right here is going to be your reality, okay? What you have to understand is you're not seeing all of this. You can't see this. Why is that? Because you have a self-image from your past. Remember that early on dynamic of who you needed to be and who you thought you were, because that authority was all-knowing, which you know as an adult, that's not true. That was a human doing the best they could, no matter what that looked like. That doesn't mean how they reacted and responded to me was appropriate for me or that I was wrong in any way. But if you don't look at it again, that past has programmed this view or this model of how you get your needs met, how you're to be treated, and how you perceive of your worth or lack thereof. So you don't see with your eyes, you see with your mind. And your mind has perceptions, meaning that you literally, physically cannot perceive of things that align with your desired reality right now, unless your subconscious beliefs align with it. Then they'll allow you access. Now, this isn't like, oh God, well, there goes that. I can't even see it in the world. Well, this should be giving you hope, because those experiences you're wanting, they exist right now, but you can't perceive of them. So that's not to say you cannot experience them. That means you need to update the context of your mind. One of the ways you can do that is actually what Dr. Dan Siegel calls mind sight, which is to start becoming aware of what it is you're thinking. What meanings do you put on situations? All situations are neutral. Somebody doesn't call you back, neutral. A boss is really critical to you, neutral. What story are you putting in that? Because the story is going to start giving you access with your adult mind to that original experience you had as a kid. When you start to do this, and this is through ABC, awareness, oh, okay. I'm starting to tell myself the story that I'm just not good enough. This person wouldn't be so critical to me if I was worthy. Oh, wait a second. Okay. I'm trying to say that I'm not good enough. I've got to breathe, because I've got to regulate my nervous system, because my amygdala is wanting to stress respond. Just like that, what happened when I was a kid and I was scared that I was going to be rejected or I was going to get in trouble. And again, that early on experience looked a lot of different ways. Maybe you got the cold shoulder from the parent. Maybe it was silence of disapproval or disappointment. Maybe that person, that caregiver, got physically violent or verbally abusive with you. But what kind of perceived fear did you have when you were younger? Because that's going to want to come up in these moments. All you're going to be able to perceive of what, oh, okay, we don't get money and we only have heartbreak. That aligns with the old story. So mindset is to start becoming aware of where those pathways are. Awareness of it. Oh, the story I'm telling myself, I'm not good enough. Okay, this is that old story. Okay, I'm going to breathe because I want to regulate my nervous system. And when you can start to use your left brain to, Dr. Dan Siegel also says, name it to tame it. I've got, oh, okay, I'm afraid right now. I'm afraid that everyone's going to leave me, that I'm not good enough. That's going to allow that amygdala to start to calm down. Being in your body and staying in the present moment, using your willpower there to step out of that belief and make a new choice. And this is heavily going to rely on you having a new vision of yourself, not just like, okay, I'm not doing that. Well, where the hell am I? But being very clear on what that new you would believe. And then in the next part, it's going to be that last key to understand how you can completely start to dissolve this entire situation. And when you start stepping out of this old lens, you allow yourself to see a new lens and start perceiving of opportunities and situations, so that you can start making action towards them, having experiences, and shifting those beliefs. Now, the third thing you can do to start changing your beliefs before you have any proof in your outside world is to re-relate to that early on event that actually formed the entire belief. And what does that mean? That means in our example earlier, you have this hypercritical parent who automatically has the authority, and this could be just a caregiver. And that relation of who you need to be, who you can't be, and stay safe and get your needs met. But the way that they treated you, you thought, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not able. But when you look back to the situation, not relive it, but look back with your adult eyes and start to see, wow, yeah, this person actually was going through a shit ton. Maybe they had a lot of work demand. Maybe they didn't feel that they were enough to actually provide for the family. So they might have seen you as a burden or too much. But no, it was too much for what they could handle. That does not make you too much. That does not make you not enough. This person, and maybe some unrealistic standard that they had from when they were younger and who they were told they had to be in order to be loved, they projected that onto you. That same internal judge, they're telling you, a kid who was innocent and wonderful and joyous, they are saying that you're not living up. So if you can start seeing that you were not good enough, their reaction to you wasn't about you. They could have had their own issues, their own stress, and whatever happened here, if you can start relating to it differently, you can start to resolve the beliefs that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not able. Literally changing the way you see yourself through the event that caused the original belief. The more you do this, the more you start to actually take back your authority and you live life according to yourself. And whatever part of yourself you had to repress or deny in order to be accepted or loved, you no longer will relate through other people to feel safe or stay safe. The more you do this, the more you will dramatically change your life and give yourself the space to change those beliefs before there's any change in your outside world, which will draw those new experiences to you. You'll be thinking new thoughts and having new feelings, which is you being somebody different, which will relate to different circumstances in your outside world. If you want a little bit more help on breaking free of hidden dynamics, this next video is going to break it all down for you. Thank you for watching. I love y'all. If you like this video, click like. If you haven't done so already, join the community. I will see you on the next one.